Hello and welcome to all my beautiful, vibrant souls who have their Saturn placement in Scorpidorps. So yes, hello and welcome to your Saturn reading, where we are kind of looking at messages from your Saturn placement. I do want to kind of put it out there that this is sort of a general reading for everybody with their Saturn placement in the sign of Scorpio. However, this will kind of resonate differently or impact you differently based on your personal astrology. So based on the house that it's placed in, as well as how it's aspected in your chart at large. So keep that in mind. If you are interested in this reading for yourself, please feel free to DM me. I don't currently offer this as like a standing reading in my shop, but if I get enough requests, I will add it permanently. But I'm happy to do custom readings. A little side note, my roommate is putting together furniture, so I'm sorry if you can hear a little bit of that in the background. They're having a grand old time. It's good day. So I kind of just want to talk briefly about what this placement really is. Oof, excuse my burp, before we get into it. So Saturn is really a planet that has to do with restrictions. Saturn is the lord of karma and life lessons as well. And is really the timekeeper out of all of the planets. Saturn doesn't really play around. Saturn makes you work for it, right? Really makes you earn your rewards. But they're very long lasting. They're very stable, right? And this is because you've really mastered whatever the energy is. The restrictions in place that Saturn brings are intended to help you really receive the full benefits and the wisdom of that area of life, of mastering that area of life. So they are challenging, but it's challenging, but it is very rewarding in the end. Now, Saturn can kind of deal, like I said, with both life lessons and self-discipline and restrictions in general, but also karmic restrictions. And where Scorpio can be a sign, or, Scorpio in the 8th house can be a sign or a house that has to do with like deep past life issues or karma, that could be what's coming up. We're going to kind of take a closer look based on the cards that come out. But Saturn in Scorpio specifically is really about two major things. One is repressed emotions, because Scorpio is a very deep, intimate, emotional sign. But especially the big one for me is about your relationship to control, right? Scorpio is known for struggling with a need to control things, especially at an emotional and spiritual level. This is why Scorpio is also usually associated with like obsessiveness, just a little bit, in its shadow, of course. So this would be like Saturn and Scorpio can be where your sense of control over things is very limited or restricted, and that's very, very frustrating. You may find that things are, there's a lot of unforeseen endings in your life, or it's like the things that bring you the greatest sense of security always seem to end. And that might be Saturn's restrictions in your life kind of taking, trying to put you in situations where you're going to have to learn to deal with that and learn to find a healthy balance with those restrictions in place. So that's kind of just a really basic overview. Again, very, very different and very specific to each of you based on your personal astrology. So keeping that in mind as we move forward. Excuse my cough. Sorry, guys. My asthma is just terrible. So first and foremost, I'd like to pull a Soul's Journey lesson card to look at. I'm just making sure we're in frame because I am really good for accidentally putting us out of frame. But I want to pull you guys a Soul's Journey lesson card to kind of look at what your Saturn wants to bring your attention to, or what you're working on at this time. Oh, wow. Okay. Talk about Saturn and Scorpio. Acceptance. Can you see that? I'm learning to accept the things I cannot change. Amen. And that's a tough one too. The cloth is like always getting out of place. Okay, I'm not going to be anal retentive about it, I think. We'll see. Yeah, so this is exactly what we were just talking about. Learning how to have acceptance, and with the almost lotus-like imagery here, while still being in spiritual flow. I talk about this all the time. If you've ever gotten a reading with me, which if you have, thank you. you know, so Scorpio and Taurus are opposites from each other in the wheel of the zodiac, and oppositional signs tend to have some type of common shadow, or like, you know, to me, it's like they have a common quest, or there's a balance that they are trying to negotiate between the two of them. And both signs really struggle with needing to have control over things, right? And the only reason why we ever feel the need to have control over something is when we have a lot of fear around it. So Taurus likes to tend to do this very materially. This is where it's like Taurus energy is known for wanting things to look the way they want, you know, stay the same, things to be very consistent, very stable, never changing. And it's almost like Scorpio can go the opposite way, where it's like this understanding, right, with that 8th house energy, that things are always going to change. So I'd rather just change it myself now. I'd rather get out in front of that now. And what Scorpio energy in its shadow is known for doing is trying to control the emotional or spiritual flow of the situation. So this is where that obsessive thinking comes in. This is where that, like, you know, maybe struggles with jealousy, struggles with, you know, again, it's almost like the opposite, where it's like creating, I don't want to say creating chaos, but like thriving in change to the point where stability is a challenge, right? Keeping things the same becomes a challenge. This can manifest in any number of ways, but mostly it's like spiritually and emotionally. Scorpio tends to like to try to control the situation, either by watching it obsessively, or like trying to control the pace and the unfolding process of whatever the situation is. So this is really talking about that and saying, like, your Saturn really wants to bring this message that what you're working on, and again with the lotus, what you're blossoming into, the enlightenment that you're in the process of finding, is really about accepting what it is that you have no control over, because that's a very, very difficult thing for Saturn in Scorpio folks, is to feel that loss of power in that particular area. So let's pull you guys some more cards and get some more information. Oh, excuse my hiccup, you guys. Okay. I wanted to look at the bottom for some reason, so isolation was at the bottom. But this is caution. So because I wanted to look at the bottom as well, I do feel like this is applicable. What I feel like your Saturn placement is trying to tell you is kind of like, and I feel like if this is the case, like if this resonates, I feel like you've already kind of maybe come up against this a little bit, or you become aware of this, where it's like by trying to control the situation, you run the risk of accidentally like isolating yourself. And I'm only saying that because I really felt drawn to look at the bottom, and I don't usually do that. For some of you, sorry, I'm just trying to ground with this for a second. So whenever I look at this card, it always looks like 2 tickets to me, right? So for some of you, there's something that you're thinking about doing, maybe a trip you're thinking about taking, an event you're thinking about going to. You might be thinking about traveling to see somebody. You might be thinking about, like, there's something that you're thinking about embarking on. And I feel like your Saturn is trying to let you know. Let me pull an extra card, because I'd like to kind of get a little more clarity for this. Okay, this is what I think is going on. So abundance came out. So what I feel like is happening here, I'm actually going to put this back in the deck, but I just wanted to see what the clarifier was. Okay, so there's something here where I feel almost like whatever this situation is, there's this loss of control, and it's very, very frustrating and feels very disempowering. And what your Saturn is kind of trying to let you know, I feel like for some of you, you're thinking about leaving the situation behind. You're thinking about going on a new path. And what your Saturn is trying to let you know is, like, just be like conscientious and cautious about why you're considering the next move you're considering. Because I do feel like there is abundance around the corner for you. And I'm not saying stay in a situation or don't. But just be really mindful about the direction you're taking and why you're taking it, because there feels like there's a deeper cause here that might be flying under the radar of your awareness, and that deeper root issue is what has been blocking your abundance. in the past. And I feel like your Saturn is trying to get you to look at why, especially too, because it just makes me think of like, I'm hearing train tickets or like just like travel tickets. I feel like there's this deeper root issue that your Saturn is really trying to get you to look at and saying, okay, like, why do you feel like you need to go? Why do you feel like you need to run? Or why do you feel like you're heading in this direction? Because there's something else that needs to be examined here. So it's not like saying don't do it, but just take a few extra minutes to really very closely look at why you feel like you need to do that, why you feel like this is your only option, your best option, the next step forward, because I feel like there's something you're missing. So let's get another card and see what is going on here. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. I do want to look at what this one is, though. Okay, so this was the 6th house coming out. I was really attracted to do it a little at a time. So there's something where, this also could be the opposite, where you're like all in on something, you're gung-ho on something, and there might be kind of like blockages, there might be delays, and it's kind of just like, it's kind of your Saturn trying to tell you like, okay, you know, slow it down, pace it out. Especially if this, because it looks like there's 2 tickets. If there's somebody else here that you're going on a journey with, because Scorpio energy is also about intimate mergers, that you're like going on some type of journey with, whether literal or metaphorical, you might want to move at a different pace than they do. This might be unfolding and blossoming at a different pace than what it is you would like it to unfold at. And this is kind of your Saturn saying like, it's okay, you can do it a little bit at a time. It doesn't make it wrong for you. It doesn't make, you know, the other person not invested or not as interested. You don't have to control the situation. It's unfolding at its natural pace. So let's see what you have. Wow, yeah, okay, talk about Saturn. We have Capricorn showing up. And I'm really drawn into focusing on. So there's something where I feel like you're really focusing on it. Again, that Scorpio energy, a little bit obsessive about it. And what your Saturn is trying to tell you is, A, this is your Saturn energy coming in to like help you work through these lessons. But this is kind of telling you, you know, again, to just take a moment, take a step back, and really look at where your focus is in this situation and why, and also the pacing. The pacing's a really big thing here. So why you feel the need to move at the pace you do, as well as in the direction you're wanting to move. Are you moving toward a person like at breakneck speed? Are you moving away from a person at breakneck speed? Are you, you know, like obsessing over a job, you know, just like waiting by the phone for some type of important communication? There's something here where it's very much like you know, obsessing is not going to change the outcome, and the pace here is out of your hands. For some of you, I almost feel like this is a really weird thing to come through, but for some of you, I almost feel like this is talking about if you have like children, your children might be getting close to the age to, you know, fly the nest, excuse me, or take a major step into their independence. And I feel like that's very hard for you to accept. These don't have to like literally be your children as well. These could just be people that you kind of like, you look after, you tend to, you have an intimate connection with, specifically you and one other person. And it's kind of just like, I feel like it's very, very hard for you to let this go. It's very hard to not obsess over it. So let us pull tarot and see what comes out. So what are the questions here? I'm just taking a sip of my coffee. All right. Let's just pull some cards. Wow. Okay, let's just pull some cards and get a feel for what your Saturn wants to talk about. So that first one came flying out. Is this one? No, it's this one. Yeah, I do want to look at it. Yeah, 7 of Wands. There's something you're fighting against or resisting. Hang on, I gotta let my cat out of the room. All right, buddy. Head on out, little mans. Okay. Sorry, guys. He was dead asleep on my bed, and then he was not. Okay, so let's see. We have the Magician. I love that. We have the 9 of Cups reversed. And, oh, the Knight of Wands reversed. So this could involve a Gemini or Virgo with this Magician energy, or a younger, like, you know, adolescent masculine fire energy. So this would be an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. This could be another person. This could be you. pretty much what I feel like here. Again, we have another card about travel and adventuring. I feel like there's something here where you've been, whatever this is, you've been manifesting it with the Magician. You've really been calling this in. And I feel like this is your wish. This is your desire. This is something that would make you super duper happy. This is something that I feel like could quite possibly be a creative project, or it's like, feels like it's part of your spiritual path, right? It really like lights you up, sets you on fire. And I feel as if there is this fear of like letting go of how it manifests, right? Of just kind of like going on the journey and not knowing the way forward, right? Because the Knight of Wands is really like fast forward movement, taking action with passion. I feel like you're generally very comfortable being in this masculine energy role, or you're very comfortable being in a place of control. The Magician's all about personal empowerment and being able to make shit happen, right? Being able to like, pretty much manifest anything that you want. And it's like, I feel like you're used to having all of the tools. You're used to being able to create whatever it is that you want. But whatever the situation is, it's out of your control in some way. And I feel like that's very difficult, because not only is there this like, it feels like there's not only this threat to your wish coming true, which is not what's happening, but I feel like that's how it feels. Is there's this fear around, your wish not coming true or not moving forward, not panning out. But it's also like kind of a threat to your identity in some way, your concept of your self-identity. And this is what your Saturn's trying to get you to take a look at. So it's not saying that this is a no, or it's not saying you're not going to end up getting what you want. But I think that you're on a longer journey with it. Because again, I was looking at focusing on, you're on a longer journey with it, because there's something that your Saturn's trying to get you to uncover, through this process. And it's all about your sense of control and empowerment and where that comes from for you. So I want to pull some more cards about this for you. Your messages were super concise. Some of the other ones, not so much. But I'm like, oh, I want to give you more. Do I flip it? Yeah. Okay, only 2. So let's see. We have, the 4 of Cups reversed and the 3 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so this is a card, to me, this can mean several things. First of all, this is one of the cards in the deck that to me is like a baby card, like having a kid. This is also a card about spiritual partnership though, and building. And so I feel like there's something here with the 4 of Cups. It's like with the 4 of Cups reversed, there is this fear that this is something emotional, that Spirit's not going to give you this offer that you want. And I feel like this has to do with collaborating with somebody else. This could be a relationship. This could be like a work, a work colleague, or manifesting something that you really want, especially because the Queen of Pentacles reversed is at the bottom of the deck. So this could be with a fire sign or an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. But I feel like there's this fear that this partnership, this like, this situation, this dream come true is not going to move forward. You may have, with this 4 of Cups energy, you may have kind of put this out here or made this offer, and this person, the person or people involved may not have gotten back to you yet, or may said like, hey, let me think about it. Or they might just want to move in a slightly different direction than what you're looking for. And I feel like that's triggering a lot of fear. But because the 4 is reversed, it's not saying they're rejecting your offer. It's just unfolding differently than you would have thought. But I do feel like you are getting what you want. But you're on this longer circuitous journey, because the deeper rooted issues here have to be brought up, so they can be brought into your awareness. Because I do feel like this has impacted you more than you realize along your journey, and your Saturn is really trying to get you to become very aware of this and to heal this. So I'm going to pull you guys a couple of advice cards. This one, did I flip it? No. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. This one's really positive. I like there's the Chariot at the bottom too, so you will have success. But it comes from, the Chariot to me is always about, yes, it's about success, and but it's about success through self-mastery, right? Mastering your light and shadow sides, and that's why you're empowered and why you're victorious, because you know yourself inside and out. You work with yourself, not against yourself, and as a result, you're able to go so much farther than you ever would have if you were ignoring the whole half of yourself, like your shadow side. excuse me. So for advice, you have the Nine of Swords reversed. You have, oh, the Lovers upright. This is so positive, you guys. And then the Temperance card. So we have Gemini energy here and Sagittarius. Hang on, guys. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. Okay, so for a lot of you, again, there's this fear and this anxiety with the Nine of Swords, and with the pomegranate imagery here, it almost feels like there's this fear of death, right? There's this fear of ending. There's this fear of things kind of like, it feels like when you cut it open, of like looking at it closely, there's this fear that it will end things, it will ruin things. But excuse me, your Saturn really wants you to know that you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to be anxious all the time. But another thing I'm getting with the pomegranate cut in half, it's like you are being encouraged, because it always looks like a heart as well. Like you are really being encouraged to really look deeply at yourself, because the Lovers can talk about a divine partnership, right? But it also talks about a decision. And you know what's really interesting? I love that we have hawthorn here, because we have these beautiful, like this little Venn diagram, and this is the flowers from the hawthorn plant, and these are the hawthorn berries. They're the same plant, but they just look different, right? This is why I feel like this involves you and another person. And with the Temperance card, you and this person might seem very, very different, but you're actually the same. In many ways, right? You're of similar ilk here. And the thing is, like with the Lovers, you know, it is about a divine partnership, but it's also about making a choice. And it's this need to make a choice based on what's in your heart and what is true to you in the heart and soul, and not out of fear. It's choosing love, not fear. And that's really, at, no pun intended, the heart of the Lovers card. Excuse me. And so especially too, because both of these can be like twin flame cards. If you're on a twin flame journey right now, if that's something you resonate with, and you're really struggling with the process and struggling to let go of control, this is absolutely referring to that. But really your advice is to kind of try to like really do anything you can to let go of fear. Always make your decisions out of love. You know, the Temperance card is also about divine timing and healing as well, and alchemy. So again, taking seemingly two opposites and making them work together, blending it and making magic out of it, right? So we have a lot here about making magic. There can be alchemy here. There can be healing here, but there does have to be there's some divine timing at work, which I know nobody likes, but there's divine timing at work, and there's this need to see, especially if there's another person involved, there's this need to see yourself as the same, just oppositionally expressed. Maybe that's why I was called to talk about the Taurus Scorpio kind of divide and the oppositions, is that you guys are the same, you just look different, or you handle things differently. And I feel like this does set off a lot of fear in you, and this is what is trying to be healed through this situation or this connection. But if this doesn't have to do, words, okay. If this doesn't have to do with a divine connection or relationship, whatever the situation is, again, the main message here is that you need to make choices based out of love and not fear. And when we're holding on to something and we're very attached to it and we're obsessed, or, you know, kind of having obsessive thinking or trying to control the outcome, things can't like be, the energy can't move in our favor, right? Because this is also about the universe making something perfect for you, right? Again, alchemy, they're really like, they're blending up the perfect thing for you, and they're getting ready to hand it to you. You just have to be patient while it's being made. Excuse me. And when we're always choosing out of fear, we're kind of blocking our blessings, or we're kind of like trying to circumvent the process. And I feel this is something that you may have struggled with a lot in the past. So your Saturn is really advising to try your best to heal and work through control issues, or anything where there's fear around, you know, and this could be different for everybody. There could be fear of like abandonment, fear of rejection, you know, fear of the unknown, whatever it is that you personally are working on. I feel like that's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the fear here. And your Saturn is really encouraging you to embrace the energy of love. Always choose in a direction that resonates with love, and that resonates with what's in your heart, not what's in your head. Not saying you can't be logical about things, but, you know, we do get caught in our head. We have a lot of Gemini, you know, Mercury kind of energy here. And so when we're stuck in our head, we are only using half of our guidance system that the universe is kind of gifting us. So it's really important to check in with, you know, with your intuition, with your heart and soul, and be able to, like, the takeaway here is, like, healthy non-attachment. And so I want to pull you guys a card. The final card is going to be from the Blood and Honey Major Arcana deck. And this is really going to be talking about the archetypal energy that your Saturn is encouraging you to embody to help you through this process or this issue. All right. What does Saturn and Scorpio little folks need? What do they need to do? What do they need to, oh yeah, cool. So you guys got, yeah, the Hanged Man, of course. This is Pisces energy, so you could be a Pisces, this could be dealing with one. So pretty much what we were just talking about, your team is trying to make something magical for you, and you're being encouraged to try to shift your perspective. Again, move from fear to love. This is a card where you're literally advised to not do anything. I mean, look, he looks like he looks like he kind of like half-assed Shibari'd himself to just like chill, right? And this is where you're just being encouraged to just hang tight, be chill, you know, kind of like take your hands off the wheel, let spirit do things for you, because your Saturn wants you to know that you're on it, like they're on it for you. There's a beautiful blessing here, but there is this requirement that you master this ability to be able to detach and let go. And it always looks like he's wearing carnelian. So this is something you're very passionate about, something you have a lot of, and we see the orange here as well. Something that you have a lot of fire for, you're very drawn to it, and so it's hard to be able to let that go. And I'm noticing that his crown is like hovering over his head, but it's obviously falling off because he's upside down. I feel like you guys are very used to being in control, being the leader, having to carry the world on your shoulders at times. And this is why your Saturn's really putting you in this restricted place, because the Hangman doesn't do this because he wants to. The universe has Shibari'd him. The universe has like done this to him. And it's because he needs to get a new perspective. He needs to chill out. He needs to see things differently. So your Saturn's advising that you embody this Hanged Man energy of trying to find a new perspective in this situation and trying to help yourself get out of fear and into love, which I know is a lot easier said than done, but this feels very healthy. Otherwise, this feels like this is being taken care of. The energy here is good. Things are coming around. It's just going to either be in a different way or a different timing than what you expected. But your lesson here is to really work on healthy non-attachment. So I hope this has been helpful for y'all. If you are looking for this reading for yourself, please feel free to check out my shop and you can DM me. I do custom readings, so I can look at this placement or really any other placement in your natal chart. We could do a deep dive. But yeah, this has been a joy, a delight, and an honor to get to read for you on this important subject today. I'm wishing you guys the best, brightest, most beautiful things that life has to offer. Take care, love bugs. Bye.